He made the cover of Time magazine this week. The last time that recognition was accorded a Muslim revolutionary leader, it was the Ayatollah Khomeini. Fact is, Osama bin Laden is a worldwide hero or villain, depending on your politics and your religion, and still the world knows remarkably little about him. Tonight we'll hear from him in an interview he granted to Al Jazeera, which is the CNN of the Arab world. It's an interview taped in his tent 3 years ago, but it was not made public in full until this past weekend. In it, he talks of his hatred for the United States and the Jews, and he spells out in his own words his philosophy about bombing attacks that may include the killing of civilians.
We draw a distinction between a man and a woman, a child and an elder. A man is a fighter whether he carries arms or assists in the fight by paying taxes or gathering information. Every American man is an enemy of ours.
When Osama bin Laden talks, it's often difficult for Westerners to understand exactly what he means. So we turn to Fuad Ajami, a professor at Johns Hopkins University and a CBS News consultant, to help us read between the lines. Ajami knows the Middle East, knows the bin Laden family, and he understands what bin Laden is saying. He said, every American man is our enemy, but not necessarily women, children?
Yes, I think that's Osama bin Laden dissimulating. Osama bin Laden had declared all Americans, in whatever country, wherever they are, men, women, and children, civilian and military, to be legitimate targets of brutal attacks.
So when 5,000 or 6,000 died at the World Trade Center, he didn't care whether they were young, old, female, male, whatever.
No, he couldn't.
They were American enemies.
Yes, and this is in the brutal language, if you will, this is the collateral damage of the holy war between Osama bin Laden and the wicked infidel forces of the West, led by America.
Much of what bin Laden says in this interview is as timely today as it was 3 years ago. This elusive militant, who's been living in remote corners of Afghanistan since 1996, rarely talks to reporters. When he does, he invariably denounces the stationing of American troops in the Muslim Holy Land of Saudi Arabia during the Gulf War, and even now. That crystallized his hatred of the West, with whom he believes the Islamic world is locked in a deadly struggle.
This pits international crusaders in alliance with Jewish Zionism, led by the US, Britain, and Israel, against the Muslim world. It's unacceptable that they commit aggression in our land and our holy sites, plunder our oil, and if we resist, they label us as terrorists.
That's a label virtually every Western leader would say bin Laden has earned. He's been linked to the first attack on the World Trade Center in 1993 when 6 died, to the 1996 bombing of an American barracks in Al-Khobar, Saudi Arabia, which took 19 lives, to the 1998 bombings of the U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, where 257 died, and to the suicide bombing of the USS Cole in Yemen last year, which claimed the lives of 17 American sailors. But bin Laden is modest about claiming responsibility for those acts of terror. In the Al Jazeera interview, he was asked to respond to charges that he was behind those embassy bombings in East Africa.
The bombing came as a grace from God to the Muslim world. I am proud of the great men who have lifted the humiliation that had befallen our nation, be they those who carried out the bombings in Riyadh, in Al-Khobar, in East Africa, and our young brothers in Palestine who have taught the Jews hard lessons.
There's no need for bin Laden to claim these operations. He blesses them. They are a gift of the Almighty.
There was a time, Fuad, back in the days of Black September, when they took great pride in claiming credit for having committed terrorist acts.
Yes. Well, he's a cool customer. He is speaking to his own audience in the lands of Islam. He knows that they know that he's the one that did all this. So I think he claims these operations in the hidden language of winks and nods.
And they believe that he did it?
They know that.
The Arab Street has been following bin Laden's exploits for 20 years, ever since he first went to Afghanistan in the 1980s to join the Mujahideen, Islamic fighters who battled and eventually beat the Soviet invaders.
This man has emerged as the Che Guevara, if you will, of this Islamic world in many ways. He's young, he's a man of 44, he's rich. He was the heir to a huge fortune of a merchant dynasty in Saudi Arabia. He is now famous. And there is something about this. It's a volatile combination in an Arab world which is oppressed for the most part, which is quiet, which is silence. And here's this man, and he has set the world ablaze.
And bin Laden has set the world ablaze with words as well as weapons.
نحن واجبنا والذي قمنا به أن نحرض الأمة.
We are duty-bound to prod our nation against the U.S., Israel, and their allies. Action at the grassroots level in recent months has been a good sign that things are on the right track to expel Americans from the Muslim world. We have formed an alliance with our brothers, the International Islamic Front for Jihad, against Jews and Crusaders. We believe they're active.
That's his coalition.
Right.
George W. Bush has his, or is trying to establish his coalition,
Yes.
and he has his own to fight it.
Right. It's terror international. I mean, this is really this international holy league of the holy warriors. And he's found them everywhere, Osama bin Laden. I mean, we as Americans like to give terror a name, a return address, an organizational chart, and we like to see Osama bin Laden as a chief executive officer of this terror international. But it's a loose world of drifters and conspirators, and he's found them everywhere. They don't really need bin Laden, but they will work with bin Laden.
But working with bin Laden is a sensitive issue today, particularly for countries like Pakistan. Bin Laden was asked in 1998 whether he thought Pakistan would side with him or with the United States.
والشعب والناس في باكستان.
The people of Pakistan have set a clear standard for hatred of the U.S. and the way it bullies the Muslim world. There are in Pakistan pro-Muslim, anti-American factions, and there are a few who are collaborating with the enemy of Islam.
Is he popular on the streets?
Well, the sad truth is, in many, many thwarted societies, men like Osama bin Laden have tremendous appeal. Again, he's wealthy, he's young, he's famous, he's taunted the Americans.
And he's been the focus of American rumors, or wishful thinking, that he suffers from some fatal disease. Rumors he's proud to deny.
أما من ناحية الصحة ولله الحمد والمنة نشكره دائما.
I am in good health, thank God. My hobby is horseback riding, and I can ride for 70 kilometers. These rumors are spread to demoralize Muslims or calm the tempers of Americans.
He's a vegetarian, he's ascetic, but he's very healthy. And, you know, this is a man of, in his early 40s. He'll be around a long time unless we get him.
But getting bin Laden almost certainly means targeting Afghanistan. In his interview, bin Laden predicted that the country that has been sheltering him from American anger will never give him up.
وإن أي اعتداء من أمريكا اليوم.
It must be understood that any American attack on Afghanistan is in fact a virtual attack on Islam and all it stands for. Our relationship with the Taliban is strong, well cemented in Islamic principles, and not on self-interest. There have been all sorts of pressures on the Taliban, but to no avail.
Now that was 3 years ago, and apparently the same is true today. Great pressures on the Taliban and to no avail.
Well, it seems to hold out.
So we are going to bomb, conceivably, Afghanistan.
We can bomb Afghanistan. We may have to do so. But let's not kid ourselves. A strike against Afghanistan will not really deliver us from trouble.
On the contrary, conceivably, it would cause more trouble, no?
Yes.
In the Muslim world.
Sure. As soon as these bombs start falling on Afghanistan, Mike, I think there will be tremendous sense of sympathy, particularly in the lands of Islam, for the Afghanis. We are going to wage war in distant lands which are not terribly friendly to us. That's the dilemma of American power, and that's the dilemma of President Bush at this time.
Like a lot of people, Charles Grodin has been thinking about the big picture.
A week before the attack on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, I was preparing a light piece for this broadcast. The headlines of the day were about Gary Condit, the mayor's race, and the U.S. Open tennis matches here in New York. I'd been advised when doing these commentaries that it was always a good idea to keep the big picture in mind. I said I wasn't 100% sure what the big picture meant. So I went to Grand Central Station in New York to see if people there could tell me. It was a different time, and that was reflected by people's response to my question. When you hear the phrase, the big picture, what does that mean to you?
To me, it means looking at the forest as opposed to the trees. You certainly want to pay attention to the trees, but just what role it plays in the forest. Just not so much focusing on the details, but on a wider array of things.
Have you spent much time in forests?
Not at all. No, not many forests in Harlem where I grew up.
Thankfully, children had no idea what the big picture was. Did you ever hear the big picture? Anybody ever hear the phrase, the big picture? Did you? The answer didn't come that easily for some grown-ups either.
The big picture.
Big picture. Big picture.
The big picture. Well,
This nice lady was pretty literal about the whole thing.
When you hear the phrase, the big picture, what does that mean to you, the big picture?
TV.
TV, Nice
Right.
TV.
Right.
Is that the name of a TV show, the big
No, the tube, the big tube.
Oh, a big picture on the TV.
Yeah, right.
You enjoy watching TV?
Not too much.
That was September 5th. Today, I don't think people would have much of a problem describing what the big picture is. The Saturday after the attack, I watched my son play in a baseball game. Our pitcher got into trouble in the first inning. The manager went out to talk to him. The umpire dusted off the plate. It was blessed normalcy. Today, we continue to try to get back to life as we knew it. We go to work, we're with our kids. We've stopped looking up at every airplane. While it's not even clear at this point how this will change our lives, more and more we begin to venture out into the world. For most of us, today the big picture would have to include a greater appreciation of so many things we've always taken for granted.
I'm Charlie Rose.